where they go, yo. Oh, 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 where they go, yo. Hey, Papa, where they? Oh, where they go, yo. Oh, where they go, yo. Oh, where they go, yo. Hey, Papa, where they? Oh, where they go, yo. 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 Oh, where they go. Where they go, yo. Where they go, where they go, yo. Where they go, where they go, yo. Where they go, where they go, where they go, yo. Where they go, where they go, where they go, yo. Where they go, where they go, where they go.
My name's Phil Wyman. I'm a former state assemblyman for the people of Greater Barstow and San Bernardino, and also a state senator. Right now I work for the Chemehuevi Indian Tribe. Have been working with them to have an even shot at opening a casino here in the Greater Barstow area, and also work I hope very diligently to preserve culture and to educate the people of the Western Mojave and the people of Barstow and the Victor Valley about the Chemehuevi, Coasu, and Van Yume roots, the real authentic tribes that were here. And this event that we had in Barstow was an example of the community coming together, remembering the tribes that were here, honoring them, and looking to the future to learn even more and share even more wonderful history and wonderful future with all of these people as we move forward. Thank you, Cliff, and I am here really just to say a couple of things as I am honored to be the representative for the Chemehuevi Tribe and worked with the Coasu all my life in Mojave Valley. I wanted to make two brief comments about two wonderful ladies that will be making the presentation. Ernestine Sharp will be speaking on language. She's totally committed to that, as has been John, as has been the Dorado family, Janice, John Hammond, lots of people involved in that. But I had the honor of finding a photograph, and Chairman Charles mentioned it, but this photograph is of Ernestine's relative. And this photograph, which I can bring a little bit closer, is a picture of her taken about maybe 30 years later. Susie Higgins, her sister, was living at the Chemehuevi village site, and Coasu, as the chair said, about 25 were Chemehuevi, 5 to 10 were Coasu. This picture was taken a lot later. There was a lot of poverty going on at that time. This was taken when she had become a perfected basket weaver, a master basket weaver. Her collection went to the Museum of Natural History in Los Angeles auction block about 10 years ago, and they were considered among the finest baskets ever. She's one of our own. She's a great, awesome Chemehuevi basket weaver, as is Mary Claw, and as was her distinguished granddaughter. This is her sister, and this is this is Annie Brown, who is related to Coasu. And the only reason I'm up here is not to get in the face of their production and tell about them. This lady, her grandmother, this photograph was taken by my great-grandmother. It was taken in 1887 when my great-grandfather and his wife came to California and started the first lime plant and later cement plant, or Grant, which I think Chairman said was something landing.
Lanes Crossing.
Lanes Crossing. See, I'm learning every day. That's what's good about life. Contrary to what some so-called settlers did and are a disgrace to everybody that goes back in that area, Frank Wyman befriended, and his brother-in-law particularly befriended the Chemehuevi tribe, and a particular member of the tribe came to the adobe that they settled in Oro Grande in 1885, came and had a piece of steel in his eye,
was in tremendous pain. He sat there for 4 hours until my great-grandfather came back, and then his brother-in-law came forward, who did have some medicinal abilities, and at least he understood how to heal and how to cure some pain. He found that my grandfather had a magnet, and he very carefully removed that piece of steel from the eye of the then Chemehuevi elder. We don't know if it was a chief, we don't know. It could have been Maria's grandfather. This was picture and that event occurred almost at the same time. This photograph of the new lime kiln was taken on the same roll of film. This was created and vetted for me by the State Museum. I say that not only to show the friendship, because as a consequence of that, the Chemehuevi and Kwaisu, and particularly the Chemehuevi, brought baskets filled with piñoni nuts and a beautiful gift basket, which is in the archives of the state of California. And one day, as we do have a new and an appropriate cultural center in this western Mojave Valley, the head of the new Native American Center has said he will repatriate that Wyman basket where it belongs here, where that friendship began. These are the three that when I was like 15 years old, I couldn't bear to turn everything over to the state. So I stay close to these. Somebody said, I think it was James, said, we'll leave them here and we'll come. And I said, no, these are the crown jewels. I carry these with me. This is the Chemehuevi basket. It does not have a little hole in the bottom, and it's very much like the Chemehuevi I've seen. This could, in fact, have been one of the gifted baskets that was given as a consequence of preventing this other Chemehuevi brave from losing his eyesight. These are Kwaisu. They're different, as was that 65 that were sold. You can see light through a point in the center, but these are remarkable baskets. Are they valuable? Yeah, they're valuable, and they're uniquely created here in the desert from desert materials. And not only was the language the Chemehuevi language and the Kwaisu language, and they're so interchanged that when those two tribal folks came to our ranch about 6 years ago, they hadn't met before, and they started sharing words, and finally one person looked at another person, they began to speak, and the conversation flowed. They were virtually the same. It would be the difference between y'all and you, north and south. Little difference. And so, to the extent that we've had a discussion, and the chairman mentioned it, with some people in the community at Barstow, it's never been venued amongst those who understand the actual history. But when some people were told, for instance, that the Banyume were extinct, or that the Chemehuevi weren't here, and all these other fairy tales, you might say, I place it, I'm a man of faith, I place it in providential hands, that if they weren't there, then why did my great-grandmother get a picture of them, and how do we have these baskets, and why are all those 20 baskets in the archives in the state of California, when then the director of that same department said they never were there. So I guess it's a good end to a story, but really culture and bringing it forward is essential. What Ernestine is doing with language, Ouija is doing with basketry, and while history is interesting, what's happening right now is so exciting.
Sakwa,